Hello and welcome to Behind the Title, a video series exploring the unique career paths and possibilities across media monks and the people behind them. My name is Kayla Gravel from the People Experience team, and with me today we have Rebecca Harbick, copywriter from Singapore. Rebecca, welcome to Behind the Title. Happy to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's go ahead and get started and ask, if I were 10 years old, how would you describe to me what you do?
So when I was starting out, I actually looked this up. What does a copywriter mean? It means someone who writes the words to make the person reading them want to do something. So that's what I do basically. I write words to make people want to usually buy things, but also occasionally, and this is one of my favorite parts of the job, is I write out people's ideas, sometimes my own, in a way that makes sense, in a way that will fit into a larger story.
Thank you. It's very clear. And I want to talk about how you got into this. You studied, based off of my sleuthing, animal biology. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
How did your path evolve from animal biology to joining media monks?
So what happened basically was that my parents were really great about just letting me do my own thing. So when it came time to decide what I wanted to do in uni, I just thought, I'm going to do that because that's what I am interested in. I didn't think at all about what I was going to do after. And then I graduated and I was like, I don't really know what to do. But then life happened. I got married, had children. So I didn't really have to think about it until my children were old enough. And then I was like, okay, now I really have to think about what I'm going to do with this degree. And it turned out that I've never really had to leverage that. I just sort of went for the jobs that I felt like I could do. So, and that eventually led me here.
So in 2022, you had a career change. And I find it really interesting. I think our listeners would find it interesting. Can you speak a bit on that and how that happened?
Yeah. So like I said before, I kind of was just going for what I felt like I could do. And so that's the kind of stuff I was applying to. And I happened to be looking for a job when the posting of office manager for Media Monks came up. And a friend had seen it and sent it on to me because he knew that I was looking. And I was like, I've never done this before, but it sounds like something I can do. And if there are things that I don't know how to do, I can learn it. I knew that. So I was like, I was really nervous, but I went ahead and I applied for that and I got the job. And then whilst I was on the job, while I was doing it, which I really, really loved. I love being office manager. And part of the job was writing emails to people, sending it out to the whole office, So one of the executive producers eventually sat me down and was like, you can write. Do you want to write? And I was like, hell yeah, let me do it. And so they started giving me like little things to write. And eventually it got to a point where they were like, we're going to transition you fully into creative. We don't want you to do the office managing thing anymore. We're going to find someone else to do it. So you just write. And I was like, yay! So yeah, that's in a short nutshell, that's how I got here.
It sounds like you really found out where you fit. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I had only gone for jobs that I thought I could do. I never really thought about what I wanted to do. So I never really thought to apply for jobs that involved writing, even though I loved it. But when someone offered me the opportunity, I was like, I cannot not do this because it's something that I love. And then when I did start doing it, I realized I could, and I wasn't bad at it, So I was like, oh my God, I found my calling. As corny as it sounds, that's actually what happened. So
that actually really leads me into my next question is, so you've actually written a few articles for the Drama and Marketing Interactive on your career journey and how your past roles and your current role as mom shape who you are as creative. So there are so many things that I think I resonated with in these articles. There's one quote that really stood out to me. Despite my initial doubts, life had already prepared me for the job, only in ways I didn't expect. So unpacking that a little bit, can you talk to me about that feeling of doubt that you had and how you really overcame that?
Yeah, I think, like I was saying earlier, I had no training in writing. I had never done it professionally. I'm a voracious reader. I read all the time, and I had always been. So I knew that I loved words, but I had never thought to do it because I didn't think it was something I could do. But in terms of even before that, like when I was applying to be office manager, I had never done it either. Um, but there was something in me that thought, this sounds like something I could do. And even though I didn't have like the credentials on my resume, I knew that I just had to get in the room and talk to, the person who was hiring, which is yours. And I like to tell this story because it actually came up during the interview. He's like, well, you don't have any experience, so what makes you think you're qualified? And I basically said, yeah, that's true. I don't have any real work experience, but I have 3 kids and I manage a household. And that was like my mic drop. But I do think that was a big part of why I got the job in the first place. Just being in the room and being able to talk to that person and like helping them understand that I've, been through life, and these are the things that in my life that I don't put on my resume that actually could qualify me. Yeah.
It's life skills, right?
Yes.
That has really
Yeah.
prepared you. And it ended up working out, it sounds
Yes,
like.
it did. Yeah. Very happy.
If you could give one piece of advice to someone who's thinking about a career change, what might that be?
So I had to think about this question, and I didn't want to be trite, or glib. Because if you're thinking about a career change, it sounds like you want to change like in your life. And so I think it helps a lot to think about what that change is that you want. Is it something, are you longing for something, I don't know, more meaningful? That's what happens to a lot of people. Or is it just like the people around you? That's also like a major thing, right? But in the end, I think the big thing was putting aside fear and doubt and just like going for it. Like, I think that's the big lesson for me here, is just go for it. Yeah.
Which can be scary, but ultimately fulfilling, right?
Yes, exactly. That's how it happened for me.
Well, thank you for that advice. I would like to go through this next segment, which we call Rapid Fire Q&A. So I will ask you a number of questions so we can get to know Rebecca behind the title. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. When you were a kid, what was your dream job?
I think at one point I wanted to be a doctor.
What is an album you could listen to all the way through without skipping?
I am a massive Radiohead fan, so I would say In Rainbows is probably my favorite album.
What is one thing that might surprise people?
I love karaoke.
So follow up to that, do you have a go-to karaoke song?
It's by The Carpenters, and it's called Superstar.
And as the Slack queen herself, what Slack reaction is your favorite?
One of the ones that I use a lot is the okay one that's like, I think it's Lil Wayne, and he's like, okay.
And with that, I will close with this last question. Reflecting on your career journey thus far, how would you describe it in 1 to 3 words?
I think I would say, let's do this. Yeah.
I love the optimism there.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's tuning in. Check out the next Behind the Title coming to you soon.